Okay, it's 12 o'clock, so I think we can go ahead and get started. We still have a few people that are joining, but I will go ahead and start off the introduction. My name is Rachel Mangus, and I am the Senior Director of Operations over at IQuba. I'm very excited to welcome you to this webinar and be able to share some new information for you about our new program with Hinge Health. We have Vince on the line who is very well versed and actually is with Hinge Health to run through the presentation that we're going to share today. And we really hope that this new benefit, we launched this benefit during open enrollment effective February 1st. So you may have heard about it during your open enrollment sessions and maybe already even reached out. But we just wanted to host these webinars to provide additional information and give employees the chance to ask questions live. We do have the chat box open and available if you have questions that arise during the presentation. We ask that you keep your questions like more generic in nature for the good of the group. No personal, medical issues or personal questions in that chat box because it is, viewable for everyone. With that, there will be a quiz provided. The link for the quiz is going to be provided at the end of this session. And an on-site event can be awarded for members that are in the IQuba medical plan, and you can receive up to $10 for this event as well. So with that, I will go ahead and I will turn it over to Vince to run through the presentation with you. I will go ahead and send out a quick note in the chat box just so you can see the notification and know where it is. I'm sure by now we're all pretty well versed with Zoom and how it functions, but just to be sure. And then throughout the presentation, feel free to submit your questions in that chat box, like I mentioned. We will also have a question and answer session at the end. So if your question is not addressed during the presentation, we will make sure to come back to it. With that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Vince.
Thank you so much for the warm introduction, and hello everyone. It's such a pleasure to meet you all, and thank you so much for joining us today. As Rachel mentioned, my name is Vince, and I'm here with Hinge Health, and today we'll go over our program and how we can help you with your chronic pain. So let's go ahead and get started. The plan for today is to talk a little bit about the foundation that our programs are built upon. Then we'll go into the Hinge Health program overview and what you can expect as a participant. And at the end, we'll go over our frequently asked questions for members like you, and then we'll have about 10 minutes for Q&A or so. And I'll share with you the link to take the short quiz so you can get credit for attending today's webinar. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. So I'd like to start with a brief story to illustrate some of the common themes we hear from our members. So this is Linnell, and she's 45 years old and works at a county clerk at one of the companies that we partner with. And she's been experiencing chronic knee pain for the last 4 to 5 years. And what we hear from Linnell and a lot of members like her can be summarized into 3 common themes. Constant knee pain was her norm, and it was hard for her to put on her socks. And in fact, there wasn't a day that passed where she wasn't reminded of her pain. And the status quo wasn't working for her. Her PT sessions, doctor's visits, pain medications, they simply were not addressing her pain. And after multiple visits to the doctor, she kept on hearing that she needed surgery. And surgery seems inevitable, but was it avoidable? And I'll circle back to Linnell's story shortly here, and I'd like to switch gears to dig a little deeper on this common theme of chronic pain. Persistent pain can be caused by any number of reasons, including natural changes with age, physical demanding or sedentary lifestyles, as well as certain behaviors or thought patterns. It's important to note that you're not alone, and this graph illustrates musculoskeletal conditions are very common. About 1 in 2 people will be affected in any given year. And if it's not you that's suffering from one, chances are you know someone that is. So if you're joining us today, there's a good chance you've experienced some form of back or joint pain in the past, or perhaps it's an ongoing issue. So some of the things to think about as we go through the rest of these slides, I really ask you to think about some of these questions. First, how is pain affecting my mood and quality of life? Am I losing sleep because of pain? And can I miss half a work day to visit a physical therapist? And how much will my treatment cost between doctor's visits, imaging, and medications? And lastly, how would my life be different without the pain? So if pain is preventing you from doing the things you love, or even doing daily tasks like walking up the stairs, then I think that this program will be really helpful to you. So let's go ahead and dive into our solution. Non-surgical care is proven to be the most effective way to improve quality of life without drugs or surgery. And the three pillars our program is built upon are the three that are shown here. So exercise therapy, behavioral support and coaching, and education. And it's important to note that these three pillars must be delivered together to see long-lasting results. So we'll do a deep dive into each of these in the next slides. So first, with exercise therapy, by strengthening your muscles around the affected areas, you will be better equipped to manage your pain. All of your exercise therapy sessions will be available through our app, which you can download on your phone, tablet, or access on the tablet that we provide you in your kit. And one-on-one in-person physical therapy sessions several times a week are costly and takes a ton of time out of your day. So we use technology to make this dramatically more convenient. And our workouts are tailored to condition to your condition by the coach and through progressive levels. The workouts consist of simple stretching and strengthening exercises. And on average, there are 3 exercise therapy sessions per week at 15 minutes per session. The wearable motion sensors allow you to see the exercises that you're doing in real time, providing immediate feedback and allowing your coach to see how you're doing so they can offer some helpful tips. Next is behavioral support and coaching. It is the most commonly ignored pillar, despite it being the most important for long-term success. This component of our program consists of one-on-one interactions with your dedicated health coach, supportive group discussions in the app, and goal setting. And we believe that forming good habits are critical to conquering pain and ensuring it doesn't come back. And this is why we not only match you with your own dedicated health coach, but also a community to share your journey with and to get encouragement from. And lastly, education. We will equip you with the knowledge you need to conquer your pain through educational articles. Each week, you'll get a new article based on your specific condition or your specific goal, your treatment options, especially non-surgical options, and dispelling common misconceptions. So an example of that is, most people think that they need to rest when their back or knee hurts, which is the opposite of what they should be doing. And this may come as a surprise to many people that are led to believe the problem is just, wear and tear or part of getting older, and there's nothing that can be done apart from surgery or pain meds. And these misconceptions lead to the vast majority of people seeking out the wrong kind of treatment or just suffering in silence. So an important part of our program is our coaches and clinical team. And as much as we digitize the delivery of care, we recognize the human touch remains critical. So here's a bit about the health coaches. They all have certifications or backgrounds in healthcare and are extensively trained by our clinical team in delivery of the program. And their role is to motivate you and to be accountability partners on your journey throughout the program. And then on the right side is our clinical team, where we have in-house physicians and orthopedic specialists that are the backbone of providing clinical expertise to the team. And consistency is really important. And really by staying consistent in the program, you will be able to experience a significant reduction in pain. And you're probably asking yourself, what does staying consistent mean? And the most critical is to complete the exercise therapy 3 times a week. And it takes about 15 minutes per session. And we also encourage you to read one education article per week, check in with your coach, and participate in the group sessions, especially if you find it useful. So let's turn our attention back to Linnell and see what's happened to Linnell after she participated in our program. And we're really happy to share that she had reported a 60% decrease in her knee pain. And she was actually surprised that engaging in her exercise therapy helped improve her pain. And through this, she achieved one of her personal goals of traveling to Ireland pain-free and ultimately avoided surgery. And I'd like sharing this story because it's one that we see frequently, and many people believe that surgery eventually is inevitable. And our goal here is to change that mindset. So if you think you'll benefit from our program, here are the next steps and what you can expect. That first step is really to apply. Visit hingehealth.com/IQUBA benefit to begin the application process. And once you've set up your account and password, you'll be asked to fill out a clinical questionnaire that takes about 10 to 15 minutes to complete. And then from there, you can expect an email within 24 to 48 hours confirming program eligibility. And then as our next step, once you're accepted into the program, you can expect a welcome text from your health coach. And as a reminder, this person is the person that will work with you throughout the entire duration of the program. We'll also work with your schedule, and you can just let your health coach know how much you'd like for them to actually reach out to you. So if you'd prefer that to be perhaps once or twice a week or more, you can just let them know at that time. And then you'll look for the Hinge Health welcome kit in the mail, and it should arrive within 1 to 2 weeks. The kit works right out of the box and contains all the sensors and tech that you'll need to get started. Once your kit arrives, you'll log into the app with your username, password, and then set up your initial call with your health coach. So is this program for me? And here are some of the things to consider with that. So if, first of all, you really want to first know that you must be an adult on the Blue Cross IQUBA medical plan to qualify. And you also have to have had pain for at least 12 weeks in one of the following areas, such as lower back, knee, hip, shoulder, or neck. And another consideration is if you is that you haven't exhausted options for conservative care and would like to improve your range of motion or joint functionality. But on the flip side, our program probably wouldn't be a good fit for you if you haven't had pain for at least 12 weeks, or if you recently had surgery or an injury in the past 3 months, and if you are younger than 18 years old. So just to kind of illustrate that a little bit further, if you had an ankle injury, say a couple of weeks before you filled out this screener, this program likely wouldn't be a good fit for you. But if you had developed ankle pain earlier this year, say in January or last year, you could be a good fit. And keep in mind that our screener will assess people individually. So if you aren't 100% sure if you're a good fit, you can just complete the application to find out. We also have manual clinical review for any application that has red flags. And those are listed on the left and that will require clinical review, such as recent injuries, infection, fractures, cancer, if it's relevant to the injury, and instability. We'll investigate those red flags and determine if the member still qualifies after that. Some conditions are actually not red flags, but are frequently thought of as such, and those are all listed here on the right. So members who have a current or previous diagnosis of any conditions here are encouraged to apply and are typically an excellent fit for the chronic program, as these conditions see improvement with exercise therapy. And with that, I'd actually like to open it up to questions. So if you wouldn't mind, for those that have joined today, go ahead and type in any questions that you have in the Q&A channel or in the chat box. We'll make sure to cover those, as well as some of the frequently asked questions, but certainly we'll love to get any thoughts from folks that have questions at the moment.
Vince, can you please review the body parts that are included in the Hinge Health program again?
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll want to make sure that again, you'll want to ensure that you have any pain within the last 12 weeks within lower back, knee, hip, shoulder, or neck as those main pathways. Perfect.
And
I see that
there's people submitting questions, it might help to go through the frequently asked questions here, because that might help address some of their questions as well.
Exactly. Perfect. All right. So we'll go ahead and touch on a couple of these questions, and certainly want to address some of the ones. So thank you so much for asking that first question. I see, is there a cost to the kit? So that is the perfect question, because this entire program is provided at no cost for all employees and dependents that are enrolled into the BCBS IQBA medical plan. And I see that some of the other questions that are coming up, we'll certainly make sure to address those. But as you can see, some of the highlighted frequently asked questions that we get here as well are, do you need to wear motion sensors at all times? And the answer is no. Motion sensors are optional and only need to be worn while engaging in the exercise therapy sessions. And as we mentioned earlier, how will this program help you? On average, we see about a 60% pain reduction amongst people who complete their 3 times a week of exercise therapy sessions. And the easy to use exercise therapy, it really strengthens your muscles to bring greater support to the joints and thus alleviates pain. We'll jump into a couple of these other questions here as well before we turn our attention over to the chat box as well. What is a health coach and how can they help me? So for those that are unfamiliar with health coaches really serve as an accountability partner. So they will work with you one-on-one throughout the program and help you create and stick with your goals. And you'll have a monthly call with them, and they will check in with you each week as well. And another common question that we get is, can I do more than one program at the same time? So participants are unable to do multiple programs simultaneously, and we really recommend first selecting the body part that you would like to work on first, whichever area you're experiencing the most pain. And then once you complete the first 12 weeks, we'd be happy to have you on another program. And we realize that some of you also might have some concerns around doing specific movements. For example, what if your doctor had told you that you can't do those specific movements? And what's great is that the program is really designed to meet you where you are. So we provide different modifications and education on how to pace yourself during the activity so you can succeed. And then one of the other questions that we also get most often is, once you, receive this entire kit, what happens to the tablet and sensors after you've completed the program? And the answer is, it's really, yours to keep. Now we realize that, with these exercise therapies, and once you complete the program, it's really important that you continue to keep up those exercises to prevent any pain that might arise in the future, not only just during the duration of the program, where you're going to be able to see the reduction in pain or drastic reduction in pain, but also continuing forward so that you can maintain that level as well. All right. So I'll make sure to answer some of those additional questions that are here on the chat But first, I wanted to have a few reminders if you'd like to get credit for joining us today here. So don't forget to complete the quiz in the SurveyMonkey to get your rally points. And please make sure to have your BC card and member ID ready before doing the quiz. And then last but not least, please complete it by May 27th. And if you get an 80% or higher, you'll get credit by June 15th. We also got a question from the webinar the other day, if you weren't able to get 80% the first time, are you able to take it? And the answer is yes, you are able to retake that quiz. Perfect. Thank you so much for posting that as well. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into some of these questions that we have here. So first, that first question we saw here is, do you need to have seen a doctor? And the answer is no, they just need to take the screener to be able to see that they qualify, and no medical clearance is actually needed to be able to participate. And then the next question that we see here is surrounding ELBO and access to ELBO. So no, the ELBO is not included at the moment, but when we introduce more programs, we'll definitely let IQBA know so that we'll be able to share that with the rest of you as well. And then another question that we have here is that if you're reviving any therapy, should you stop before starting this program? And so you can actually do this simultaneously with any other active physical treatment. Just let your coach know so that they're aware of any other therapies that you're engaging in. This next question that we have here is around, is a patellar tracking disorder something that can be helped with this program? So great question. I am not the medical expert here, but that's why we have an entire team dedicated to be helping to be able to evaluate that. So we really encourage you to go ahead and take the screener, and that will go through to an area where you can share some of those symptoms and make sure that you're eligible for the program through that. Perfect. And the next question we have here is, can you repeat the program again, what you said about how people with an injury tend not to move it while they should be strengthening? Okay, so just to clarify, not injury, but those that are experiencing pain or in areas that and are afraid to move it, that's certainly something to just be aware of, or something that will be in consideration, just to make sure that again, that this program is the right fit for you. All right. Let's see if there are any other questions that we have here. Okay, so I do see, is it only allowed for employee independents over 18 or any participant on the plan? Yeah, so it's as a member and spouses and adult dependents. So those that are 18 plus will be eligible for participating in this program. And of course, once you fill out the screener, that will be able to tell whether or not this is the right fit for you as well. And then I did see that I received a direct message regarding the member ID number. So that's one where you'll want to be able to have your card ready, I believe, just to make sure that you're able to submit that information when you're filling out the quiz.
Yeah, the card information is only so we can credit your dollars in Rally when you submit that quiz for the onset event. And please keep the direct messages, just go ahead and post them publicly, just so everybody can see, and questions should be for the good of the group.
Perfect, thanks so much. And so I see that there's here's another question. Can someone that has a heart condition or wears a pacemaker participate in the program? And so that's a good question. So we encourage you to go ahead and complete the screener, because that will take a comprehensive review of all your symptoms, including, your heart conditions and pacemakers, just to really, again, provide a comprehensive evaluation as to whether this is right for you. And then the next question I see is if you have pain in 2 or more areas, and can the screener help determine which is the best to focus on first? That's a great question. So really, again, what we really do recommend is starting with the area that is really producing the most pain that you would like to focus on first. But again, as you're going through the program and you're working with your coach, they might also recommend a number of different additional exercises that you can work on simultaneously outside of the specific pathway that you're on. So that's really, again, something that our health coaches and our PTs will be able to really help provide and put together that plan specific to you. And great. So how long does one program last? So, again, the program lasts for however long as you need it to last. Really, we recommend first focusing on the first 12 weeks, since that's really the timeline that we see that is, at a minimum needed to really experience the reduction in pain. And then from there, to really continue maintaining the level of pain reduction, that's where you'll want to be able to continue with the program as you see fit. And of course, I think one of the other things that that comes up as well and is related to the other program that was mentioned, or the other question that was mentioned, is that, first you might find that you're starting on a certain pathway. Say you're working on your neck issues first. You're going through the 12 weeks and you're able to address that, and find that, hey, I'm still actually experiencing some back pain. Actually, that's where there's an opportunity for that second pathway as well. And you can use it as the programs, as much all throughout the entire duration of a year from the time that you signed up. Great questions. Definitely feel free to keep them coming.
I did go ahead and share the link for the survey in the chat box as well. So if you are interested in Rally Dollars, if you're enrolled in the medical plan, please make sure that you complete that Rally survey in order to get credit for your attendance here today. And we will keep the chat box open if you do have any questions. Thank you so much, Vince, for sharing this information with our group. I think it was very informative. And I mean, we'll keep it open for questions. I don't know if, Vince, if you have any last minute words of wisdom. If not, we'll stick around for questions in the chat box. And if you don't have questions, you can go ahead and start to drop. Thank you for your attendance.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, and appreciate you all participating today. And that's great. I'm loving to hearing all of this great feedback. See that someone had mentioned that it took only 5 minutes to get into the program. So that's great. For those that are still on the line, can I help answer any other questions? And again, feel free to put anything in the chat if needed. I'll just be here to be able to answer any questions. Okay, let's see. So are there any consequences for not doing all exercises 3 times per week? So yeah, great question. Again, that's really the recommendation around ensuring that, you'll really be able to maximize, really getting that pain reduction through going through the program. So that's what we've been able to see throughout our studies that we've done in the past year. So again, it's, if we understand, things come up in life, and you're not always going to be able to have that time. But that's really where we have, again, our health coaches that are really there to really help encourage you and try to figure out certain solutions and ways to either, if you have any obstacles to being able to get to doing those 3 exercises per week. But again, there's a lot of different suggestions that we would provide. Some of the fun ones that have been brought up are, when you're, waiting for something, for, say, preparing dinner, and you have 15 minutes in between things getting prepped. And that's a great opportunity to be able to squeeze that in. And again, this is really meant to be tailored to anything that would really fit your schedule during, whichever time of the day that meets your needs. And then next question. So is there any reason we may be declined from the program? And yes, so we, as we mentioned earlier, there's a couple of different areas in which, you might be declined. One, if as you're going through the screener and you've shared with us that your pain really hasn't necessarily been experienced for more than 12 weeks or fewer than 12. If your pain's been 12 weeks or less, then the program might not be the best fit for you, as well as a couple of these other areas, since we're really focusing on helping to address chronic needs. But again, as our programs continue to expand, or you're finding that your pain needs are meeting some of these different criterias, that would be a good opportunity to be able to go through the screener again, and to be able to check. Great question. And then another question specific to the actual program itself. So how often do you move levels? I feel like I have been on level 2 for a while. Do you have a set schedule to move on to the next level? Yeah, that's a great question. I think, that's really dependent on a number of the different exercises that are completed, and certainly working with your coach as well to be able to determine what is most appropriate. More often than not, it'll naturally move you up to the additional levels, but I would highly encourage you to connect more with your coach with any more specific questions as to where you're at. No problem.
All right, well, if you have questions, please submit them. I did share the link again for the survey or the quiz in the chat box. Somebody mentioned that they were having problems getting to the survey, so that is shared again in the chat box, and we will certainly stay on as long as you guys have questions, so keep them coming. Seems like the questions have slowed down quite a bit, so we will stay on for about another minute for you guys to submit those last minute questions. If not, we will be ending the session. But thank you so much for your participation and really, really great questions. And thanks again, Vince, for being so informative and helpful through this process.
Not a problem. It was my pleasure. Thank you all, and everyone have a wonderful Mother's Day weekend.
All right, looks like people are dropping and we're not getting any other questions, so we will go ahead and end the session. But have a great weekend, and we will see you next time.